Wow. Thank you, everyone, for coming here tonight. I want to thank also Nadav Eilon, who's here. He's the Jewish Agency Regional Director to the West Coast, and he's here. Thank you for being here. And of course, thank you so much, Omri, for being here with us. It's such an honor to have you here. I'm Yuval Malka, the Senior Community Shlicha of the Weintraub Israel Center, a partnership between Tucson JCC and Jewish Philanthropies of Southern Arizona. Baruch haba, Omri. To begin, before we dive in, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and the journey that made you a filmmaker?
Sure. First of all, thank you for being here. And I have to say that this was the best screening I've ever had because I've seen it a few times with audiences and no one ever laughs. Even though I think that there's a lot of humor in the film. But everyone's so serious and people here laughed. And it's the first time people laughed during the film. It was very nice because I'm always chuckling and I'm the only one. So I'm from Israel. A little bit about myself. I served in the unit that Ziv serves in Shayetet, and I just found out that Yuval also served there, so it's a small world in a small country, as always. And we both wore green.
Yeah, we both came like soldiers today, which is really funny.
And I've always wanted to be a filmmaker, and even in the unit, I was always filming and everything. And I moved to New York in 2009. And this was my thesis script at NYU, actually. And yeah.
Very impressive, I have to admit. And what motivated you in creating Listen? What brought you to create the central theme for the movie, or what was the message that you were you wanted to explore?
So I was double majoring in journalism, and I was writing a piece about. I never really succeeded, but I really wanted to explore it was something about how the effect that killing has on the effect that the distance you are from the kill has on you and how you take the kill, like if you're killing someone in the military, that is. Because anyway, I was writing this and I was talking to a classmate at NYU who served in the unit in 8200 in 8200, and that whole speech that Dara gives Ziv at the end about you guys, you get a picture and a name and you go out and you go to sleep, and I'm the one who listened, I'm the one who lived before and after, and that all of that was her. That was the conversation that we had, and I never thought about it that way, and it was a really interesting angle, and that really led me to write the script and make the movie.
Yeah, and we can definitely see a lot of the moral questions very relevant to today, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But I have to ask, as an Israeli, and you probably get this question a lot, why did you choose to make this film in English with American actors?
Well, American actors, they were only American because they were best for the role. Israelis did audition. But the English was, first of all, I really wanted it to be more accessible I felt like it was more directed towards an international audience, an American audience, in terms of the things that it raises. And there's also we shot right before COVID, which is why it took us a while to finish it. And before COVID, I feel like COVID opened up more to international. And even I think for Israelis, and especially from reactions I've gotten, that for Israelis, I think it allows Israelis to see the conflict from a bit of an outsider perspective. Instead of kind of being in the room, in it, they get to kind of look at it from outside the window. So I hope it works.
Yeah, it creates sort of a distance for sure. I could definitely feel that when I watched the movie as well. And it's almost unbelievable that you actually created this film before October 7th. So many of those, again, the moral questions and the things that we saw are very relevant to our current reality. And they are very complicated. Has the reception to the film changed after October 7th? Do you see a new role or a new responsibility to that film after October 7th? Is anything changed to you as a director?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the ending definitely hits me a lot harder after October 7th. And I'm happy that I'm happy that the film is kind of out there after October 7th, because I feel that obviously the everything that's happened since, and the attacks themselves and everything since, and the war is very polarized, and in terms of how it's viewed from the outside. And I think it also very much frustrates me when, people say Israel, right? Israel is doing this and Israel is doing that, because, in the end, what's Israel? The country isn't doing anything. In the end, it's decision makers and it's soldiers and, the military. The IDF did this, IDF is committing genocide. All these statements that really, for that to happen, you have to have individual soldiers be doing these things. And I think that a lot of times from the outside, people forget that, Israel and IDF, really, in the end, it's people. And I think that people are people everywhere, and especially in what I was trying to show here is that people in the end, soldiers, it's crazy, right? Because soldiers, like, we were in the military and we were 22 years old, and at 22 years old, you're making really big decisions, and you're faced with these moral ethics and moral dilemmas, and you don't always make the right choices, and sometimes you don't make the right choices, and it has very big consequences and worldwide consequences in terms of how things are viewed. And I think that people forget that, and so for me, part of this, and why I'm happy that it's out there now, is that I think it brings us back to that point, that in the end, it's people, and everyone is really, at the end of the day, trying to do their best, and it's a complicated situation.
Yeah, like one sentence that really resonated with me, that she said, of course it's personal, like it's personal to everyone. It's the army of the people, as we say, and I think it kind of showed both the strengths of the idea of being the army of the people, and also the challenges of it being very personal. So for sure that was very deep and interesting, presented in the movie. Was it important for you to create an authentic feel in the movie? Like, did you work with experts or conduct any research to make the film realistic as possible? Was that an important thing to you in the film?
Yeah, for sure. My wife is listed as technical advisor because she served in the unit. And yeah, a lot of research went into it, and and obviously it's a movie, so a lot of things aren't as realistic, and maybe the ending, I don't know how realistic that is, and but a lot went into it.
It was actually amazing, the little details, even the watch of the of the soldier. In the Navy, they put their soldiers and their watches on the right hand, so even those little details were there. So I was really impressed by that. Really, yeah. What were some of the challenges or dilemmas that you faced while making Listen? Maybe one main challenge or dilemma that you had. If you want to share.
Good question.
Thank you.
I think for me the main challenge was, I didn't want it to be partisan in a sense. I wanted everyone. It's really interesting. I wanted everyone to be able to see themselves in the movie, right? No matter what your political beliefs are, or what you think about Israel and the war and everything, I wanted you to have a point of view. And I'll just say a little anecdote, because it's actually really interesting, that someone who worked on the film, an American Jew, I saw on Facebook, posted that she had worked on a movie in 2019, and it went against her belief, and it goes against the beliefs that she now has, and she wanted to take her name off. And I reached out to her and I said, like, is it this and that? And we had a 2-hour conversation about, like, on the phone, about the war and this and that. And in the end, she said, and I said to her, at least watch the movie, because she hadn't seen the movie, right? She wanted to take her name off without having seen the movie. And then I sent her a link to the film, and she saw it, and she considers herself an anti-Zionist Jew. She thinks Israel should disband. She thinks that what's happening is a genocide and all of that. And it's okay for her to have those opinions, okay. But after she saw the movie, and she loved the actress, she had such a good relationship with the actress, and after the actress, she said, wow, this is such an anti-war film, and I never thought I could root against Eden, the actress, and but I've had people look at it and not see it as an anti-war film, and I've had people agree with what Eden does, and so I think. So and that was really the main challenge of it, was bringing the movie to a place where, where a Zionist Israeli can see the movie and find themselves in it, and an anti-Zionist can see it, and it doesn't really, these are just words, right? But it doesn't matter where you are, but you can see it, and you can see the film. The film you can take the film to wherever you want to take it. And I think, and I hope that that's what it happened. And I mean, at least in that case, it was. And so I'm glad that it happened, because it wasn't an easy thing to do.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of the questions were meant to kind of remain unsolved, if that's what you meant. It was definitely felt during the film. So were those kind of the discussions, or did you have any specific discussion you were hoping people would have after leaving the film, or any thoughts that you wish that would spark in people after watching the film?
I mean, as long as I just hope that especially the ending and everything that leads up to it and what the character does, that it at least leads to some kind of discussion. I never had an intent of what the discussion was, but I think, these are all moral dilemmas that I also remember facing. Like, I was in Gaza, and you see terrorists holding children, and I think that one of the things that people don't understand is the effect that war can have on you, and that it's very frustrating. Not everyone's playing by the same rules, and so on and so forth, and so I would hope that it sparks that kind of discussion, or at least that kind of thought process. At least, really, what I hope for the film, and especially for people who have less of a connection to Israel or Judaism or the idea for anything, is just to make them rethink how they view the conflict.
Yeah, it definitely rises a lot of those things, and you coming as an individual to the army, and you have your own set of values and beliefs, and then you also have the bigger system that you are a part of it, and you need to be. So that's like a tension you always have as a soldier, definitely. As we wrap up, is there a message you would like us to take away from the film or from this discussion?
No, really, just what I said before. I think what I said, just about in terms of. It's very frustrating. Like, I don't know how everyone feels, but for me, it's been a hard year, and it's been very frustrating. And I've had 3 people take their names off the film, and one of them, this particular one, bring her name back, and I think that people try to simplify it sometimes, and to me, it's just always very. Yeah, it's like. It frustrates me that we can't, that a lot of times people can't accept that there are 2 truths at the same time, right? That we can say that this is horrible, and yeah, but this is also horrible. And like, we have to take these sides where it's like, I mean, I had someone who worked on this film, again, wrote a Facebook post about, what's happening in Gaza. And I just asked her, I wrote a comment, and I said, like, I never see you commenting about the hostages. And then another person who worked on the film commented, and he said, that's very all lives mattery. Like, which I didn't really, which is a weird thing to say. And it's like, I keep running into this thing where and it's called, every time they say this whataboutism, where you say what about, and then it's become this term, I'm not doing this whataboutism with you. But like, I guess I start rambling. I guess the message, so to speak, is just that it's not as simple as people make it out to be, and that in the end, and this is really it. In the end, war is a bad thing, and that's what people never seem to realize. It's like innocent people die, and people really ruin themselves, and it's not easy on anybody. And I don't think I'm not going to say there aren't people who enjoy it, but for the most part. And I think that people forget that. and people don't, they choose not to see that. And I think that, what happens to Dara in the film is very tragic to me, and I think that that's the effect that war has on an individual. And it has an effect on every individual. And so I would hope that people just are able to think about that.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like also for me, because it feels very personal also as an Israeli, like the end felt like, very hard to watch. But also I believe in always, like in Hebrew, the word criticizing, levaker, is also visiting. And I heard once somebody says that before you can criticize somebody, you should visit, be a guest in their opinion or their ideology, or at least have some empathy or trying to understand before criticizing. And I really got that from that film. After I kind of took a deep breath, I felt like I went on a journey on different perspectives and visited different opinions and different perspectives that just made my reality much deeper. So I want to thank you for that. I think it's really brave. So thank you for coming here and for making this really impactful film.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.